Corbett, Rob. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the meeting. Are we all set? All right, the Board of Education meeting is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Secretary Ristich, will you please take roll call?
President Wagner, we are missing Member Torres.
All right, we're going to move on to the approval of the agenda. Unless there are objections, the agenda will be approved as presented. Are we good? Everyone good? All right. And we are going to move on to our celebration of learning with Assistant Superintendent Wolf and the Waterford Kettering Destination Imagination. I'm like, are they here? Where are they all? Where? Like I'm like, I know they're all sitting right here, but.
I'm building the suspense.
Oh, okay. I got a little nervous, like maybe we should hold on.
No, I was getting worried that there we go. And it popped right up. So yeah, without further ado, I know we're excited to, on everything on the agenda. I'm very excited for our Kettering students and their trip to Turkey, the Destination Imagination. And so I'll pass it over to Ms. Gross-Nickel, who helped coordinate the entire trip and has some awesome things to share.
So I largely am going to have the kids share about their experience and how great it was. I just wanted to preference before the kids start that Amy Werner and myself as the teacher chaperones could not have been more proud of the way that these students and the three who could not attend tonight represented Waterford and Michigan and the entirety of the United States on our trip. They were so respectful and kind and graceful, and they took advantage of every single opportunity. They tried every food, regardless of what it was. They learned how to belly dance. They committed fully. So I cannot wait for you to hear about their experience, but I just didn't want it to go unnoticed that these students truly were amazing.
Hello. Okay, so I'm Taylor. So our first stop was Paris. Oh, yes.
I got you.
Stay on this one, please. Okay, thank you. And we got to see Eiffel Tower, the Notre Dame, and all that stuff. And we tried crepes, and everyone was mostly nice. It was just amazing, like seeing everything and like how architecture is there, like things stay. Sorry. And then things like stay for a very long time there, whereas here they kind of get like broken down after like 100 and something years. So, yeah, that was Paris.
Okay, so we started our first day in Istanbul with a boat cruise, and we walked around the Asian part of the city. We enjoyed many good foods like doner kebab, Islak hamburger, fried anchovies, and sheep intestines. We learned how to haggle like pros in the Grand Bazaar and how to properly enjoy Turkish coffee. We did a Turkish coffee class where we learned about the history of coffee, how to make it, how to read your fortune in the grounds, and how locals enjoy it. We also saw beautiful Turkish architecture and mosques, and we learned what can be talked about in mosques, learned about prayer expectations, and how to get ready for prayer. We also learned a lot about the Nazar, which is also known as the evil eye, and we learned different stories and traditions behind it and its purpose.
So this one, I'm a very outgoing person, so we are, like all of us. And we got to become friends with like the girl in the yellow shirt. She became very close. We actually hung out with her for like almost a whole day. We got like matching tattoos, and regardless of like her speaking Turkish and stuff, so we got like that. Why are you laughing at me? We got that like, oh yeah, they were fake tattoos. Yeah, okay. So that was great. We got to like, she told us a lot about like how it's different there. Like they don't have like Target or Walmart and stuff like that. So it was like talking to someone here, but like there, you know? And then we all got really close, and then our buddy team, that's the middle row, the top picture, they were like amazed by like the baseball caps that have like the Detroit Tiger thing on it. And then we gave them like chips and snacks, and they were like very like, oh my goodness, like it's this. And they got like hot Cheeto things and ranch Pringles, which they do not have ranch or hot sauce in Turkey, which I felt everything needed that. But so that's why it's good they get to experience that, because maybe then they'll be like, this needs some hot Cheetos in it. It's like, so that was that. It was great. We did make connections. Oh yeah, the pin trading, that was something like, it broke the barrier. Everyone wore lanyards and we traded pins. So even if they didn't like know you, they just come up to you and be like, and we just trade pins. And then like, we were both happy because like, I got a new pin, they got a new pin, you know? It was fun. Yes.
Okay. So this is when we did our tournament, and we spent a lot of the days prepping for our skit that we did, and we spent a whole day, the day of the skit, in our hotel room, just going over it, really memorizing everything. And when we got to where we were, the judges were super nice, and they were very welcoming and made us feel super comfortable. We performed our skit, and it went really well. And after, they asked us a whole bunch of questions, and I think we all answered really well. And then we also got to see some other teams do their performances. And the other Michigan team that went with us, we got to see theirs, and they did a different type of, performance, yes. Yes, so they did improv, and so they prepared differently than us, which was super cool to see, because all we kind of knew was what we were doing, but we got to see all the other people do maybe like a science performance or an engineering one. And then we were welcomed onto the stage as Team USA, and that was super cool. We came rushing through the stage with music, and it was so hype. Everybody was dancing, and they were so excited. We were asked by so many people, oh my gosh, you're from the US. Like, how long did that take you to get here? And we're like, so long. But they're like, that's so crazy. Thank you so much for coming. And yeah, we placed first, tying with another Turkish team. And yeah, it was amazing. I love the tournament. It was so much fun.
So what you see up here right now is about the International Challenge. This was a type of extreme challenge. So while we had the instant challenges, which we performed as our team, we also got put together with a team of students from literally all different schools. So you had some from Turkey, some from Poland. Every single person was from a different school, and no one knew each other. But we were put together to create this instant challenge. And this, for me, was truly the most rewarding experience. For creating this instant challenge, we got to work together with people who were from such diverse and different backgrounds. And we came together, and each team formulated a project. Our project for this one was specifically creating a cultural diversity, like a type of Olympic thing to show the world diversity and cultures coming together for the history of the Olympic Games. And we each came up with something different, because there were 7 teams that we were split up into, where each of us had a different person. But every single person and team succeeded in so many great ways, and it was just getting to talk with these people, communicating with them, and that was just absolutely amazing. Thank you.
I have a feeling there's some questions you may want to ask our
Yes.
students. Yeah.
Who would like to go first? Oh, do you have more things to tell us? No, okay. Member Donahue?
No.
I thought.
No, I was
Oh, okay.
laughing at her because she raised her hand.
Oh, I didn't see. Oh, dang. Oh. Member Patusha?
Obviously, you had a good time. It sounds like it just the opportunity for you to be brave enough to do something like this. I mean, I don't like airplanes or travel, and to go over to a country that they don't speak English, I'm impressed. It's so neat that you're able to do that and go in and have the fun. There has to be, like you mentioned, most people were nice, because you're gonna have knuckleheads everywhere. And so when you get to them, but you work around it, and you get to the better things, and thank you for going. It's brightened my day. I enjoyed hearing, seeing the smiles that you did and experienced, and it's a lifelong lesson. My son went to Spain his senior year. He still talks about it. A friend of mine had a foreign exchange student from Turkey. She was a wonderful girl. So again, I learned about a little bit of the culture then, because I know a little bit about Waterford. That's pretty much about it. Just airport and hatchery, that's my world. But just to experience that, to have what it takes to say, yes, I'm gonna do this, and go and do it is neat. I wanna thank you, and I appreciate it.
Yes, and we want to thank you guys for letting us go, and thank you to all our sponsors who sponsored us and supported us on this trip. We really appreciate it, and this has been a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we will always be connected by this trip, and that's something that we're super appreciative by.
And I was a little afraid, because again, you were there when other things were happening, and again, I know Waterford a little bit, where other parts of the thing, I don't know what else is going on. I'm terrified, like, and you're all smiling through it. Hey, we had a good time. So, thank you.
We felt completely safe there. We were extremely welcomed by every place that we went at the tournament in Istanbul, when we went outside. Like, we felt awesome. We wouldn't have even known if anything was going on. And we would have known, but like, when we were there, we weren't worried about anything at all. Just worrying about our feet and how much walking we're going to be doing that day.
And it's wonderful, because you are young, you can do these things. We have to get older, that happens. But you don't have to grow up. Keep doing what you're doing, keep trying the different foods, trying the different cultures. You'll go far in life. Just keep experiencing it. It's fun to do. Thank you for what you did.
Thank you.
Member Sonnekrant?
I want to hear more about the Turkish coffee.
So do I.
When I was a little girl growing up, my grandma used to have this metal little cup thing with a handle on it, and these tiny little cups. And it was cool, because, I was little, and we got to drink coffee, and she was making Turkish coffee. Well, I have the little things from my grandma. I have no idea how to use them. So what can you tell me?
Okay. So with the grinder, you open it, you put the beans in the bottom, and then the handle on top, you grind it until it's like a really, really fine powder. And then you take your little mug and you put water in it, and then you put it in, they have like these special little pots, and you put the water in there, and then the grounds, and you stir it just a little bit, and you watch it to make sure it doesn't bubble over, and then you pour it into your little mug. There are grounds in the bottom, but that's how you reach your fortune. So keep those. Don't drink those. They're really not great. But it's just a little bit, and you did it right when you get this like thin foam on top. So,
yeah. Yes, and also when you're doing with the Turkish coffee, one thing that our guide told us about it was making sure we have it's a certain type of coffee bean, whereas it's a smoother, so it grinds into a finer powder. Because apparently a lot of the American coffee that we drink and consume is like this thicker coffee bean, which creates that thicker taste. But for the Turkish coffee, it has to be that smooth ground in order to have the powder sift into the bottom of the cup.
Yeah, so it's a very specific type of bean to get that perfect Turkish coffee flavor and consistency.
Thank you.
Turkish coffee, it's not like you go through a drive-through. This is like a 45-minute situation.
I remember.
You're gonna have this cup of water, your little Turkish and your coffee. You're just gonna go through this rotational process over and over again.
Wow.
How big is the cup?
They're only this big. It's like
Wow.
45 minutes?
Yeah, it's a sipper.
Not you're talking through it and you're meeting your friends. It's it's a group setting.
Yeah, it's more of a social event than people usually drink coffee here in the morning to get their day going. But people see this as a time to sit and connect with their friends.
Thank
Very
you.
cool.
Couldn't you have a full cup of coffee and do that? Just wondering, I don't know.
Member Ristich?
Forgive me, I don't think I got your names. I got Taylor. What are your names?
Oh, I'm Sophia.
My name is Arabella.
I'm Cassie.
Arabella. All right, excellent. I want to hear more about the presentation. So what was the presentation? How long did it take to prepare? What was the sort of theme? Can you tell us a little bit about the presentation?
So our presentation, how we talked about, there were different categories, like there was improv, engineering, science. We did the service learning project. So because all of us are in Link Crew, we decided to use our Link Crew background to create our service learning project. So what we had to do is we had to create an actual project that we had in our school. So what we ended up doing was we created this event with our freshmen, especially talking about disrespect. So we did like our educational aspect of it, as well as we created flyers and stuff for our teachers. We're educating them about our teachers, like fun facts and stuff, so they get to know them on a more personal level, because we did all the research behind it for the science of like what causes like a more respectful community, as well as the stems of respectful communication, where we had them run through practices using the respectful communication stems. So after running through this project, then we had to create our presentation. So our presentation was in the skit style, where each of us had a role, but we weren't allowed to have like any adult interference. All of this was us. All of our costumes, props, everything that was made by us and like figured out and written, and all of it was just us. And within our presentation, we had to have 2 team choice elements as a part of the judging, and we also had to have some sort of like 2 conflicting characters. So those were just like the ways in which they graded it for us. But so we had to create that, and there was like the different stems and all the different things that we had to include, and that we had to include like a resolution to a conflict resolution in there. So there's literally like this whole like thing and list of stuff which we put together to create this presentation. And our actual presentation, as you probably saw in one of the pictures, we had like there was like some people who were the grandparents who were essentially the storytellers of it, who are sort of like our narrators. And we also had the monsters, who with the monsters we were showing them having a dispute. Kind of, the monsters were a reflection of like the freshmen. Yes, but we showed the monsters having the dispute, and we actually had like the fairy princess come in, and who represented our Link leaders, who showed them, and we showed them running through the project and exactly everything that we did with the freshmen and the intended effects which we noticed after doing this event.
So it took, we started about November, maybe right after November, so we met like every Tuesday from right after school till 4, and then sometimes we would meet up at the library or at Panera, and we would work at our project. Yeah, so our project topic was find a community problem, like identify a community and then find a problem within that community and solve the problem. So our community was the freshman class, and the problem was disrespect. So that was the dispute she was talking about, yeah.
Well, thank you for being leaders. Thank you for representing us at the global stage. And thanks to Ms. Gross-Nichols-Warner for spearheading this, and to everyone who helped make that happen too. Did you guys want to shout out the other 3 of your team, just so they can, you know?
That's going to be Wes, Addie, and Paisley.
Wes, Addie, and Paisley. All right.
Yeah, what's your name?
Paisley Newville and
Addie Lemmerlin.
Awesome. Well, great work, and thank you so, so much.
Member Donahue?
Well, so he took my first question in regards to what was the actual presentation about in the competition. So with that being said, though, what's one takeaway that each of you have from the whole trip? I mean, was it culture? Was it more meeting someone that you're going to stay connected with there? What was it? I'm really interested to hear, you know, how exciting this was for you.
I would say my biggest takeaway for me was just seeing how different their life is, but also how similar it is to ours. And like, we are different people, we come from different countries, but like we think the same, you know, so just being like immersed in that culture and seeing what people do from day to day. Like, we like stopped in front of this like barber shop, and our tour guide was like talking with him, and I was like, huh, yeah, people here just like know each other, and like this is the way people get their haircut. And I guess people don't think about that, but like, yeah, I don't know, just trying all the new foods and meeting all the new people and seeing all the places and like really doing what like local people do, it really like made me feel more connected with the place and definitely want to go back.
Yeah, for me, I completely agree with everything that Cassie just said, but also I would like to add is that the actual history of the places which we visited. Like Istanbul, you literally have your Roman obelisk right next to your Ottoman mosque, and just so much history all in a single place, and just like understanding how all of these cultures have came together is just insanely mind-blowing. This is like a place which we have literally learned about in our history class, and getting to see it firsthand and interact with the people who live there, who this is their daily lives, and just being able to have that like communication and that bridge like in my mind, it was just immensely mind-blowing and an amazing experience.
Yes, agreed, definitely with both of you guys. I would like to say just communication and overall, not only with people who don't speak our language that much, but also, and we also communicated with people who are older than us, younger than us, all in between adults, and every night we went back and we debriefed our day, and I definitely am going to take that back with me and do that, you know, regularly, because I think that helps so much with our busy days. It was a full day. I didn't know how much you could fit in one day. We went to Paris that whole day, and we saw so much, did so much, and every day was just that, just different things, and it was incredible. So definitely going to take that away.
Okay. So, I agree with you guys. That's a really good question. So my biggest takeaway would be like how they like live out their normal days and like lives, and then sorry. So like it's just so different there. It's very diverse compared to ours. I feel like they take their days at like a slower pace than us. Also, the way they drive is crazy. I almost got ran over a couple times. That was, like, it's amazing there. Okay, I'm done.
Has this experience made you want to travel more, do more overseas studies? And that there, absolutely.
I
Oh,
have plans to move now.
that's awesome.
I mean, before this, I've always wanted to travel the world, and I've never even been overseas. Like, the only country I've ever been to is Canada, but I mean, it's like 2 hours, you know. I don't really count that. But I was like, this was literally like the most amazing experience for me, because I've always wanted to, like, all these places I've read about in books, learned about in classes, and just being able to actually go there, it's just insane. And it's just like made me want to travel even more, to meet more people. Because even though like Paris and like Istanbul and even Antalya, they're literally just a couple of hours away, like flight by plane, but they're so vastly different, and just seeing like how many, like all the cultures and the people of the world is just so beautiful, and I would definitely want to travel more because of this experience.
Member McGregor?
So I just wanted to say first, like, I'm very excited for you guys because I did DI and I loved it. And like, this is such an amazing experience. And like the fact that you even placed at a global competition, that's a really big deal. And you should be really proud of yourselves because that is really hard to do. But also, like, keep in touch with these people, right? Because my teammates from DI are people that are like, we will all go to each other's weddings. We all know each other, you know? And it's funny because we all are so close, but we all still do some of these things that we did in DI, like going to my friend Bob's house and seeing the things that he's designed, because we always did like the science problems. Like, it's really cool because these things all go into your life, and I use the skills that I learned every day. So keep using those skills, keep perfecting them, and just keep doing what you do. I'm really proud of you guys.
Thank you.
I know my colleagues have touched on pretty much all the things that I would say as well. I was really interested in the Turkish coffee. I was kind of hoping that you were bringing it to demonstrate, but But now knowing it's a 45-minute process, I appreciate that you didn't. But I absolutely love your enthusiasm. It's infectious. Like just watching you explain how the week went, how much fun you had, what you learned, all the cultures. It's definitely, I'm so proud of all of you and what a great experience and how you're sharing that experience with all of us. It almost feels like we were there with you. So I'm so glad that you had this opportunity and that you represented us with such distinction. So, so proud of all of you. Thank you. All right, I'm not sure how we move on from that. That was so awesome.
Just end.
I know. Meetings, just kidding.
Save those. Feel so much better.
I know. All right, we are now going to move on to recognition of achievement with Superintendent Martin.
So the way we move on is recognizing two other incredible Waterford individuals. I'd like to welcome Ms. Kristen Woods-Helms, the Mott High School principal, as well as Waterford Mott student Serenity Williams. If you guys would come up to the podium. We're proud to congratulate them for being recognized with the 2026 Legacy Builder Award. This award honors individuals whose exceptional dedication and leadership have created lasting positive impact on the community. Serenity's nomination spoke to her efforts coordinating an initiative called the Book Project Oakland County to offer a book share and swap program with local schools, eliminating barriers and providing children and teens with greater access to books. Incredible, Serenity. And Ms. Woods-Helms' nomination recognized her courageous, student-centered leadership, creating a school culture grounded in high expectations, accountability, a deep care for her students and staff, and the belief that every student deserves excellence, as was evidenced last night with the many hugs that she was given to all of her students. Kristen and Serenity were recently honored at a special awards ceremony in February that was emceed by our Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, and we're among 46 nominees out of Oakland County that were recognized. So join us on behalf of the Legacy Builders Award, or joining us on behalf of the Legacy Builders Award is Ms. Robin McGregor to present further recognition. Robin.
Welcome, you two, and thank you to the board for letting us do this. 46 people from the State Board of Education, Garland Gilchrist, representatives and senators were there that day. I wish you had, Serenity was at the leadership conference, so she was doing what she does best. And Kristen, we didn't get the address to her because we had to do it for security reasons. We couldn't send it out in time. But we have two awards. I'm going to start with Serenity because that's what Kristen would want me to do first anyway, because her students are always first. Serenity, you make such a big difference for everybody around you. From the community when I first met you, talking to me on how you want to make a difference, how you do things for your peers, how you care about the students around you, and your school you are so proud of. So on behalf of the Legacy Builders Award and the founder, I would like to give you this award for you making a difference for Waterford. You are one of 3 that were recognized throughout Oakland County. 46 people nominated that day were only people that made a difference. I had some help from a friend of mine that is a teacher in the school. Your teacher wrote down a paragraph that took up 3 pages. I could not put that in the program. So I'm going to send that to you because you were nominated not by 1 teacher, but by 3. So that's how much you are loved and respected in your school. Kristen. Yes. And Kristen, I have had some of the best experiences in my district with, like, from Mary Lou Simmons to many leaders in this community. But your heart is unique. I sat with Ben last night at the Select 50 and told him that I said the difference between Mott and Kettering is doing Interact for all those years, that Mott has a special heart. Having your, you have your food pantry out there in the front so that people like myself and the public can walk in and put something down. You love your students, and Ben, you do too, but not the same way. But you care about each and every one of them. Your teachers love you. You are a community. I feel like I'm part of your family when I come in there. And it's something that resonates as a Kettering graduate, watching my kids grow up and what you have established for this district. It's a unique feeling knowing that we have some of the best leaders in this community. Oakland County is very lucky to have our teachers, our staff, and our administrators. So thank you for touching Serenity's life and everybody else's life, because I don't know where I would be as a community member without people like you in my district. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tony Williams. I am beyond grateful for this opportunity. Just to be here standing, the gratitude that I hold with this opportunity is ineffable. I am so happy I could be up here. I'm so appreciative that the actions that I take are recognized by the people around me. I'm so glad that I'm surrounded with staff members and my peers who recognize the impact that come from the actions I take. And I'm happy to be here. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. And if anything, it just serves as motivation to me to continue. It really doesn't stop here at all. This is one award that I'm so grateful for. I'm hoping there's many more to come. I plan to change the world with this, honestly. Like as crazy as that may sound, like I really do. Like, it's not just Waterford, you know, that needs advocating for, or, you know, but it's where I'm growing up at, so I'll start here, you know. But yeah, that's what I have to say. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Now, you know I'm gonna cry because I'm emotional. But I don't think I ever had an opportunity to thank the board for affording me the opportunity to go to Mott. But scaling back just a little bit, being like we came in at the same time. We came from some pretty hard places. And when I made the decision to seek employment in Waterford, I was at a turning point because some of the experiences I had me somewhat lose my faith in education. Because I knew I was doing the right thing. I knew I was working with people who did, but just weren't gaining traction in some of the places that I was at. And it makes you question yourself and whether or not you're doing everything that you can do, or are you really a good leader? And when I came here, the support, the warm welcome, it was overwhelming. I'm here with all my hair, my nails, and you're just like, okay, just be you, Kristen. And I had the opportunity to do that. And I thought I would never love a school like I did Durant, and then came Mott. But the fish rots from the head. You're only as strong as the people around you. So I am only here to get a legacy award because my narrative has involved so many important people. And right now my team is a dynamic team. We all have our own niches, and it just works. It just works. And it took me 20 years in education for it to work, and now it does. All of these people in these 2 rows here, I call them, I text. They have been so supportive, this community, Mary, everyone here, and it feels like home, and I don't take it for granted. Every day does not feel like work. We have dynamic students, and I just feel so honored to have been afforded the opportunity to be here. I feel like this is what I needed, and I will continue to work hard. I will continue to push my students, and I know for Mott and for Waterford, the best is yet to come, and I thank you.
Colleagues,
Going on again?
I know.
Stop.
Before you go running out, I know, I just want to make sure, do we have any, I want to make sure my colleagues have a chance, and if not.
I just want to thank them. And again, I want to stop because, again, it's good stuff.
I know.
The rest of the meeting can't be this good, and I want to stop on good stuff.
I just feel
Member
really
Ristich.
fortunate to have heard Serenity here on March 20th, 2026 announce she is going to change the world. I feel very privileged and lucky to have listened to that and witnessed that today, and then to have Principal Woods Helms already changing the world. So we just appreciate both of you so much. And Mom, congratulations. This is amazing, amazing.
And I would like to say, as a fellow Corsair, Serenity, you are amazing. Oh, see, Kristen, I'm going to cry too. You know, it's just, there's something to be said as a Corsair. We have very deep pride and very deep love, and captains do too.
I love to.
And so do skippers, But you embody a Corsair. You embody who we are. And I cannot wait, because I know we are going to see so much of you, and you are going to change the world. And Kristen, you know I love you. So before I keep crying, thank you both. You are amazing. Thank you for representing us, for being who you are, and for being amazing. And thanks, Mom, for raising such a great daughter. All right. Thank you, everyone. All right, so now we have to move on to our business of the night. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know. All right, we are going to move on to public comments on action items. Does anyone have a public comment on an action item? All right, we're going to move on from that over to our consent agenda. Unless there are objections, the consent agenda will be approved as presented. Are we good, everyone? Are we good down here? All right. And now we are going to move on to our information items with our license agreement with Waterford Township. I'm going to compose myself. I have mascara running.
Good evening, trustees. I'm here with our Director of Safety and Security, Mr. Michael Surratt, and Chief Underwood to talk about the informational item for the revocable license agreement with the Township Police Department.
Good evening, trustees. Information item A for board consideration is a revocable license agreement between the Waterford School District and the Charter Township of Waterford for limited use of the Waterford School District bus garage as a launch and recovery site for a drone as a first responder. Some frequently asked questions are included in your packet, and Waterford Township Police Department Chief Scott Underwood and I are present to address any questions the board may have about this revocable license agreement. So with that, I just wanted to open it up.
Colleagues, do we have questions? Member, I couldn't see your hand, Elizabeth. Member McGregor?
So one of the concerns that I do have with this, as an electrical engineer, I very firmly understand the importance of cybersecurity, and I am very much concerned about Flock's issues with cybersecurity. There have been a lot of issues publicized where people have been able to get into cameras without passwords, things like that. And that really concerns me, especially with a drone, because like we don't think of drones as being something dangerous, but they can be, right? I mean, I had to go to the ER with a laceration from a propeller. You know, this is what teenage engineers do, right? Take everything apart, put it back together. But it is a concern of mine, because I don't want anybody to get hurt with something like that. And there have been incidents like what happened a few years in Florida, where there was a child that had to get a heart transplant after they got hit with a drone. So I don't take that lightly. I wanted to ask about that. I also wanted to bring up to the board as well our policy number 7440.03 in relation to drones, that if we move forward with this, we do need to update that policy, because right now our policy says that somebody who is not part of our district cannot operate a drone on our property. So I know I threw a couple things out there. I wanted to give you a chance to address that question because I do think it's really important.
So I can speak with regard to Flock. We've been involved with Flock since 2021. The only technology we use at this point is their license plate readers. We've contracted with them to provide us with 3 drones and 3 docks. We're going to fly those drones from 3 separate locations within the township, one in the north, one in the middle of the township, and one in the south. This site that we're requesting your approval to use would be our south site. As far as information, as it relates to Flock, there is a lot of misinformation, inaccuracies, and speculation as it relates to Flock and their information security. I have all that information and what they do in terms of security and data security. The only breach that they've had was with their Condor cameras. Condor cameras are what they use that you might see on some communities use them in intersections, some communities use them in public spaces, parks, places like that. They had one instance where it was a configuration issue with the Condor cameras, and once that configuration issue was brought to their attention, it was a misstep by the technician who installed it. That loop was closed, and they haven't had any issues since that I'm aware of. We don't employ any Condor cameras in Waterford Township.
And just as a follow-up, so how are you guys making sure like those configuration issues, because that is exactly the issue that allows people to not have a password to log into these systems without that, so.
So the only logins are our personnel log into the Flock system by username and password and two-factor authentication. And the only access that our people have, like I said, are to the license plate readers. In terms of these drones, what will happen is our people will be able to view those only when the pilot offers a link that they can access through, again, two-factor authentication, and only to those people that they choose to offer that link to, which would be the officers that are working at the time or command personnel if they need to view whatever the mission is that the pilot happens to be flying at that particular time. In terms of safety with the drones themselves, we take on the risk in terms of insurance. We insure up to $1 million for each one of those particular drones and liability. And we would do that for all 3 of those. And every single pilot that we have operating those drones will be a licensed FAA commercial drone pilot. We have 14 people that have been through the training already and already been licensed as FAA commercial drone pilots.
Trustee McGregor, I just took a peek at the policy, and the policy does say, right, unauthorized users aren't able to do it. It also permits the superintendent to authorize individuals to be able to do it. So if the board is approving here tonight, I take that as allowance of me to authorize them to be able to do that. And our policy is good then.
Thank you.
Member Ristich?
Thank you, Chief Underwood, for being here tonight to answer our questions.
So thanks for having me.
How big is this drone?
So the drone itself is quite small. It's less than 3.5 pounds. The dock itself is about 3 by 3. It opens up, the top opens up like this, and the drone comes from within. It would launch straight up and then fly to whatever location we were sending it to. The dock itself, like I said, is about 3 by 3 and weighs about 140 pounds.
In your experience with other communities who might have such a drone system, how often are they being deployed?
So up until 2017, drone technology was fairly new, still is really, and they were primarily used for large-scale events, crowd control, that type of thing. In 2017, a police lieutenant in California came up with this brilliant idea, simple yet brilliant in my opinion, to use drones as first responders on a daily basis. So you could launch that drone and send it to everything from a parking complaint to a person on the corner with a long gun. And what that does is, through studies that, with agencies that have already launched these drone as first responder programs, some of the data shows that 78% of calls for service were first responded to by drone. 20% of calls for service were resolved without even dispatching a ground unit. 86 seconds was the average time for the drone to reach the call for service. An 89% increase in subjects located, including suspects as well as missing persons. So it's become a very valuable tool, not just for large-scale events or single events, but to use on a daily basis.
Thank you for that.
Member Patricia?
I'm excited for these. Again, the technology is there.
Sure.
Why we aren't using it, I'm excited that we're going to be able to be part of this technology. It's there, we should be using it. Lost people, I've been part of searches, and what you can see from just a second floor compared to the ground level is amazing. So this just has to be night and day in giving us the opportunities, giving the community something to truly grasp as a great thing, so.
I couldn't agree more. And much like with the business that you all are in education, you've seen great technology advances with education, and we see the same thing in policing. Technology in policing is evolving, and you know, it's not just the police that use the technology, the criminals are using it as well, and we need to stay up. We need to stay up to date and at least close to what they're doing so that we can continue to make this place, this township, a safe place for people to live and work.
Member Donahue?
So just for clarification's sake, we're talking that it's personnel within the police department that are the 14 that have been trained and certified? Or
Yeah, there's at least, we have 14 now. We anticipate that we'll have upwards of 20 that will actually be commercial drone pilots, police officers and dispatchers.
Okay. And then the second part of that is a little bit of a, maybe an interesting thing that we have here versus some other police departments that may have these is, yeah, I mean, you're in the flight path of.
We are.
And so, I mean, obviously with a commercial drone license, they've taken that and they can work with the FAA. What type of communication do you guys have between us and the airport as you launch these things? And if we've got a little Piper airplane flying into the ceiling levels and dealing with all that?
Before we, as we started this program, the first contact we made was with the airport. And we've worked with the tower manager there to determine flight altitudes that we're able to fly at. For those that aren't aware, within a 5-mile radius of the airport, the flight tower manager is responsible for dictating within grid squares of that particular area what altitude aircraft can fly at, unmanned aircraft can fly at. And so we've worked with the tower manager and the FAA. We've applied for and received the proper waivers, as well as the approval and authorization to fly the unmanned aircraft as a law enforcement agency. So we've been through all that. We've dealt with the FAA. We have all the approvals and waivers in place. Our commercial drone pilots are licensed, and we're ready to go.
Thank you.
Well, I do want to point out, because one thing I think that's important, especially for our listening public that might not have the agreement in front of them, the use of the district property, I'm just going to read a little bit here because I do think it's incredibly important because I think there could be some misconceptions as to what the drone's purpose is. The township may use only the designated licensed premises for drone launch, recovery, and minimal staging. Use is restricted to public safety and law enforcement purposes, including training and readiness activities. The district retains full authority over the property and may suspend use with 2 days written notice for noncompliance. It's also prohibited no commercial operations or unrelated drone activities. No surveillance of students or school activities unless tied to an active authorized enforcement purpose, and no entry into district buildings or restricted areas without written authorization or emergency necessity. So I think that's important for people to understand that this drone is not being used to surveil our students. It's simply a launch pad so that the police department has somewhere where they can base that drone in case it has to be launched to be used in the event of an emergency or something critical for the township to have, and the PD to have the ability to respond instantaneously. So I know that those questions will come up, but it's definitely, this is not meant to be about our students. So I think that's critical to understand.
In its most basic form, what the district is granting to us is the use of about a 3x3 piece of your roof so that we can set this dock on the roof and be able to launch the drone from the dock. That's really, in its most basic form, what we're talking about.
All right, great. Are there any other questions or comments? Member McGregor?
Just a quick thing. I just wanted to say thank you because looking through this contract, you guys clearly put a lot of effort into that and captured a lot of the concerns like that we all brought. So that's appreciated. And thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that as well. We were able to work with our township attorney and the district's attorney and work through these great people here and be able to come to an agreement in principle. And we're just now at this point seeking your approval.
And I will say, we are very lucky and grateful to have such an amazing relationship with our police department. That is not something that all districts can say that they have. We love that we have our own local police department and our own people, our own residents, obviously some sitting in the audience who we love dearly. But it is, so as a parent of this district and a community member, I am forever grateful to all of you for keeping our kids safe and our district and our community safe.
We feel the same way. We think the school resource officer program that we have in place and have had in place for a long time is invaluable. Mike has done a great job stepping in now. Jim Beaver before him. We've continued that same strong relationship, and we expect to have that into the future.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are we good with the questions? All right. We are going to move on. Member Sonnekrant and I have figured out that there is a pen that has exploded somewhere by us, so we are spreading blue ink everywhere. So just if you start to notice, we don't want to touch anything else up here. All right, we are now moving on to our 2025-2026 second budget amendment with Assistant Superintendent Hildebrandt and Amy Dagenhart.
Good evening, trustees. Amy and I are pleased to present the second budget amendment for this year to you as a backdrop for our listening public. The original budget for the district was approved in June as required by law to have a fully approved budget by July 1. So back in June, we had no idea what the state budget for us would be. So there were a series of assumptions that were adopted. In early October, the state released their budget to us. And based on that, we adopted our first amendment in early November. It was formally adopted November 20th by the board, presented to the Committee of the Whole earlier in November. In that first amendment, just as a quick update, the foundation allowance, our original budget had at $10,000 per pupil. The state authorized $10,050 per pupil, so we recognized that additional $50 per pupil. Also, in our original budget, we anticipated a loss of 88 students from our February student count to our fall October count. At that time in early October, November, we were actually looking at being down 50 students, which was an improvement from our original budget of about 38 students. So that was a really nice uptick. We also had in the original budget, as well as the amendment, the Headley rollback. That was the cap on the non-homestead, our non-resident properties, those commercial properties, second homes. We had received 27L additional funding. We knew our amount for educator compensation. It was not in the First Amendment. We were in negotiations, and we were still in discussions and had not finalized that as of yet. We had an unknown impact for the January 1 healthcare costs for open enrollment. We also were lucky enough, due to the diligent efforts of our CIA department, to receive a just under $640,000 grant for K-5 curriculum materials, which was reported in that First Amendment, both revenue and expenses. So now we go to amendment number 2. We have the state aid count of 6,678 kiddos, which is a decline of 55.71 FTE. So it was we lost 5 more, just under 6 from that first amendment. Once again, that's from the spring count to the fall count. We opted in on the 31A Safety and Security Mental Health Grant, which awarded us an allocation of $2.5 million, just under $2.5 million. Our original budget was $835,000. So that was an increase for student safety and mental health restricted grant services of $1.652 million. We, as a district, can request to carry that over, and we just have to fully spend it by September 30th of 2027. In this amendment, we have what we are anticipating to spend at this time. As new projects come in, we'll increase that revenue and increase the expenses. We allocated out that 27L educator compensation, the $985,000 that was fully utilized with all of our bargaining units. We included the new minimum wage, which took effect as of January 1st, which is $15 per hour. We adjusted all the fringe benefits to open enrollment selections that the employees elected. We put placeholders in for all open and vacant positions. I'm sure you're aware that we have many positions that have been posted, they've not been filled. We have recognized the savings from those unfilled or underfilled positions with this second amendment, but we have placeholders in as if we're going to fill them from now until the end of the year. We have maintained all the building allocations at the original levels. There have been no reductions with any of those allocations. We have adjusted contracted support services substitutes for those unfilled or underfilled positions. That includes speech, psychologists, et cetera, also drivers and other positions. We had to increase our utilities due to this colder winter that we've experienced. We adjusted our transfer out for the special revenue activities of childcare, pools and fitness, and the performing arts based on the forecast results. This is leading to an additional savings to the general fund of $177,000 less in a transfer out. Of note, our pools and fitness rates took effect February 1. We anticipate an additional improvement in that when we get to the final budget. We added in budget for staff that did not receive any increase during the school year. So that includes WASA non-affiliated. So if an individual did not receive a step increase and they did not receive anything with negotiations, we have allocated funding in here in order to make sure every valued employee of this district gets something. So what does it mean in terms of the chart? This chart shows our revenues for the fiscal year 25 audited, the first amendment, and now this proposed amendment. From the first amendment to the second amendment, you can see a decrease of $450,000 in local revenue. That's just a blend between the state and the local, between what the state pays for the foundation allowance versus what comes in from local property taxes. We have some additional categorical grants that have been recognized with the state. We have federal grants that was Grow Your Own and some of the Head Start Title I money. A slight increase from the inter-district. Those are funds that come to us through the ISD, and I believe that was all related to the PA-18 money. And then the transfers in, that's the food service indirect cost rate. Next, we have just the breakdown of how we're spending our money. Salaries from the first amendment to the second were down by $32,000. So we increased with all that educator compensation, but we've had all these underfilled or unfilled positions. And so it does show as if it's a decrease, but it really is just an underfilling of the need. Fringe benefits, we have decrease of $659,000. Once again, the same thing. Unfilled positions, no retirement, no FICA, no fringe benefits. Purchase services, that relates to the speech, the psychologists, the contracted drivers, what I talked about in the earlier slide. Supplies and other, utilities, $144,000. And the transfers out, you can see that saving of $65,000. You might question, well, Karen, you just said it was $177,000. How can it be 65? Transfers out also includes tuition that we pay to the IA for the Oklahoma campus and our other cyber virtual tuition out. So that all nets together. But on the transfer out to our own community activity funds, there really was a savings of $177,000. So when we go in and we roll this all up, where are we at in the general fund? We ended last year, audited numbers with a 13.1% fund balance. Our original budget was anticipating a use of 1.5, almost 1.6 million of our reserves, which would have left us with 12.4% fund balance. And with the second amendment, we're actually looking at a surplus of $994,000, leaving us with a fund balance of 14.5% based on expenditures. The change from the original budget is 3.669 million in revenue. Primarily that 27L educator compensation is 985,000. We had another 835,000 for 27L subsection 4, which was for healthcare. And so a lot of these are one-time monies that came in, some with expenses associated, some without. On the expenses, you can see the uptick of the $1 million, that educator compensation. And down below, you'll see my note in terms of funding changes. We have the 27L2, that educator comp, that revenue and expense was $985,000. The MEPSR's healthcare offset was $880,000 that came in as revenue to help pay for that healthcare cost. And then we have the just under $640,000 of expense, revenue and expense for that curriculum materials. So where do we go from here? We have our final budget for this current year will come out in June. We'll also have our original budget for the upcoming year, fiscal year 27 in June. We need to identify our projected enrollment for next year. We are forecasting out healthcare. There is a House bill that's been on the table. It's in play. It's House Bill 6058. Will it come into play? I don't know. There are some pretty significant impacts if it were to be elected up and in. It substantially changes the Public Act 152 guidelines. So we're keeping a watchful eye on that. We're looking at the foundation allowance projection. The governor released hers, which indicated an increase of $250 per pupil. We are tracking all of our non-recurring funding and expenses from this current year to ensure that all of those are removed from the budget forecasts. And we're looking to say, is there any new funding coming around the corner for fiscal year 27 that we can recognize and bring in? We also are looking strongly at our steps and other compensation changes as part of our plan to secure our staffing and meet the needs of our kiddos and our community. And I just want to formally thank Amy and the finance team for all the stellar work that they did with this. It couldn't have happened without all of them. And now I'll open it up to questions.
Colleagues, do we have any questions? Member Petrucia?
We should have stopped with the other ones, with the students. Because this all sounds good. I mean, we've gone up from the 13 up to 14 and a half. We should be at 15, so we still have a half to get up. You've done a wonderful job, but I'm still a little low in my fund balance. On the student safety, the money that we got in, we were expecting 800,000 or 900,000. Got what, 2.4? And a lot of that was because that was something we voted on. It was very controversial of whether we take it, don't take it. A lot of districts didn't take it, which gave us, we got some of their money, which is a wonderful thing. I love when people say, no, we don't want that. Well, we do. That was a good thing. You've done a wonderful job. Again, it went from a little bit gloomy, but again, I think we still need to do a little bit better. We still need that little bit more of a fund balance. We need that buffer. And again, when we had to bite into it last year, it just didn't feel good. So again, if I can get it back to the 15 where it should be, but you're almost there.
We're close.
Again, it's not as good as the other presentations, but it's pretty good.
Well, you
still
know,
feeling good
Rob,
about the
when you
meeting.
made your comment, I felt like you looked directly at me, and I'll say I wasn't offended.
Okay. Well, okay. No, I was looking over, yeah, you've been here long. Doggone it. Oh, there was the other part. You'd mentioned how everyone has gotten a raise. Ms. McGregor, did you get a raise last year?
Did I?
Yeah. Anybody up here? No. So again, I want to point that part out when people say, well, we didn't get a raise, we're not loved or understood, or, no, it's, in my 28 years, it's still the same rate, so. I don't know if we can do anything about that, make this a little bit more of a fun meeting.
I don't have any power over that, Rob.
if you found that extra money, if, something else. But again, it's just one of them things, but you mentioned every other valued employee. I don't know if we're really employees, we're more advisors. When people ask me in the school board, saying, do you work for the district? No, I'm more as an advisor type capacity. So as an advisor, I guess we don't get anything, but it's just to point out, some people think that, well, because of all the health care and all the other benefits that I get that aren't really real and aren't there, but we'll do it for the $30 as long as there's 4 of us. So, that's all.
Any other question? Member Donahue?
Yeah, just thank you so much for the presentation. I really do appreciate it. I cringed every time you said underfilled positions. And I know Human Resources and Susan File is doing a great job of getting those positions filled and looking for those staff members, because we do need them. Our students need them. The rest of our staff need them as support. And although our money has kind of gone up a little bit, I would rather see that status quo if our positions were all filled and go on that route with it. So I just wanted to acknowledge that it's, we're still trying, and the district is still trying to get those positions filled. So great job, though.
All right, Member McGregor?
So just for clarification for some of the people who may be listening, I just wanted to say, so like 31AA, 27L, most people probably don't know what these mean, right? Could you very briefly explain what that means? And for instance, like 31AA can only be used for certain things. What are those stipulations?
So 31AA is for student safety and mental health. It is restricted funding. We can't just use it for anything. And there are very specific guidelines and timelines for the expenditure, which is why we're only recognizing within the budget those activities that we know that we're engaged with that qualify. On the 27L funding, that was actually part of funding that the state of Michigan had allocated back in their 25 budget that went unspent. So then they provided that back to districts in an equitable fashion based on number of students or staff members, and it will not recur into the upcoming year. There were 2 parts of that 27L funding. One was for educator compensation, which is how we utilized ours with our MESPA units and our WEA unit. And then the other part was for the healthcare reform. Not that I want to bring up the bad news from last year, but the state in fiscal year 25 had allocated funding for MEPSers, and they said, we're going to keep this. We're not going to take it away. Then in mid-April last year, they took it away. That was a hit of $3.6 million for Waterford. That $835,000 was a little bit of a touchback of the $3.6 million that they took away.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Any other questions or comments? All right, well, thank you again. We know how much work you put into this. We greatly appreciate it. I also think it's important to note they are continually looking for things, and so is many of our administrators. And we secured an amazing grant for our WSD Camp WSD this summer, over $800,000 grant. So our district is continually looking for ways to bring in funding when the state does not. So I think that's important to point out, and it's greatly, greatly appreciated, because any grant funding we can find helps secure our general fund and will get us to that 15%, Rob. So we're getting there. All right, thank you both so much. Although you're not moving.
We'll stand right.
Oh, are you? Oh, Amy, don't move. We are now moving on to bond refunding with Assistant Superintendent Hildebrandt and Amy Dagenhart.
So trustees, we have an opportunity to refund some of our existing bonded debt due to market conditions. What that means is bonds that were previously issued in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 are bonded projects. The coupon rate or the interest rate on those bonds, some of them are 4%. The current rate that we can refinance for is about 2%. So we are recommending that we go forth with a refunding action for up to I think it was like $58.9 million. It should save our taxpayers just under $1 million in interest expense.
All right, colleagues, do we have any questions? Member Patricia?
Give her some credit. Sitting at the other table, you're confusing me.
Well, she had to play Vanna and go through the slides.
Okay, that's what it was. I wasn't sure.
You missed her hitting the button.
Here, I wasn't, but no, it's a wonderful thing. I do appreciate how you're constantly looking to ways of saving. And again, as a taxpayer of our community, it's what we do. And it's what we're supposed to do. And thank you for doing your jobs.
You're welcome.
Any questions, colleagues?
Just
All
to
right,
reiterate.
Member Ristich, I could not
Sorry.
get that out.
We are going out and refinancing these bonds to save the taxpayers $1 million. So
Correct.
that's a pretty darn good deal. So just wanted to reiterate that in light of what Member Prashusha just said.
All right, thank you so much, both of you. We're now going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent Wolf with vape detectors. Yay! It's an exciting night with our presentations.
We have to get a desk where they just run around the chairs
I know.
and sit or something, play some music. We're gonna make this meeting interesting.
Well, I'm up then. But I will say, well, first, good evening, trustees. This is not going to be quite like the turkey presentation. I just want to preface, nor Serenity, but I will do my best. Okay.
We appreciate your honesty.
So I am here with you today seeking board approval for the purchase and installation of 27 vape detectors. Our focus throughout the school year is always on teaching and learning, and all things we do are centered towards our students, our programs, and supporting our students and staff. Every once in a while, there are some disruptions or distractions that take place, which cause us to step back and pause and ask ourselves, do we want to put some energy into this? And in this case, we feel we do. We have seen an increase in vaping, specifically in our bathrooms, over the last 8 to 10 years. And I feel confident in saying that is very similar to every high school in every county of every state. We know that realistically, we are not going to eliminate vaping from our schools. It is too easy to conceal. And we know that while we have our students for those 7 or 8 hours during the school day, we can work some miracles and do some marvelous things. But there's only so many places and locations that we can be in any given time. We've done an awfully good job taking our staff from our hall monitors to our paras to our teachers to our administrators and everyone in between, positioning themselves out and around our bathrooms in areas where these things have been taking place. And we will continue to do that. We feel as if we need to take one step further, not to eliminate 100% of the vaping, but to deter the vaping for the overall goal of restoring the environment in our bathrooms. And so really this is about that bathroom environment and having students feeling safe and comfortable to use a restroom at any time without second guessing it or avoiding it and trying to hold it, let's say throughout the school day. So we know that this occurrence can be a distraction for a lot of students. We know that we can track student hall passes, and we do, and we've been able to curb and track and monitor students, prevent students who are overusing that, maybe for the wrong reasons. But again, it is at a point where we still feel we need an additional step to put in place. And as always, the health and safety of our students is always priority number one, so that's always on the forefront of any such goal or request like this. So the locations for the vape detectors is going to be all of the boys and girls restrooms that are available to students during the school day at Kettering, Mott, and Durant, and so that accounts for 27 vape detectors. I'll go over the specs and some more information here in just a moment. We are seeking to purchase the Halo 3C Smart Sensor. And this device is quick to send a message, a text message to those who are set up on the device within seconds of it being alerted, which does get alerted for vaping as well as any loud noises and any signs of danger that may be present in the restroom. So it does extend a little bit beyond vaping, so there's some additional benefit to that. The installation of this would take place this summer. So I've worked with Elizabeth Cutchy on this and making sure that this would be something we could install, and then also have our teams trained and go through that routine before the school year starts. The funding source, just coming off the heels of Karen and Amy here, would come from our 31AA funding for mental health and student safety, and therefore this would have no impact on the general fund. We would also use this funding source for the annual subscription cost to continue to service these devices. The quotes we've received through our state cooperative agreement, REMC, accounts for a total of $32,570. That one right there, I want to note, is an error. It's not an extra one. It's not 325,000. It's 32,000. That includes 27 sensors, as I mentioned before, the 27 software licenses annually, and we will be working with Corporate Audio Visual Services, which is our contractor that we always work with for technology installation. There are a few other devices. There's another popular one that we took a look at, a little bit higher expense and does not have some of the reviews and the quality that we're aware of in looking at and talking to other schools. So the Halo 3C is the one that we are looking to purchase. So who else? Many local districts have begun to install vape detectors. To name a few locally, that's Berkeley, Saline, and Dearborn. Most districts, though, don't advertise this. This is not something you're going to find on the homepage next to the mission and vision of the district website. And as such, nor would we. But on our end, the communication that we would have with our families, our students, obviously our staff, going through expectations, but also our parents, is a very important step in all of this installation. This is not an I gotcha, because again, this is hopefully going to be a deterrent for students, and we will be asking our parents, our students, to collectively and cooperatively work with us to help restore that bathroom environment outside of the staff who will be and have continued to be out and about and around those spaces and areas. So the implementation and management next to the communication is also very, very important. You cannot install these, step back, and then everything's fixed. You have to have a team that is ready, knows what their role is, including having backups available. And for us, we know that in talking to other districts, we need to be consistent during the entire school year, but that first 1 to 2 months is critical, so that students and folks within the environment know that these things do work, we are responsive, and we were serious about deterring you away and keeping our environment safe. As I mentioned, these devices alert to team members that we designate within the system, sends a text message, and from that point, communication would take place via the walkie-talkie. We will have male and female hall monitors, as we currently do, placed outside of our bathrooms during hallway passing time, but also when the class period takes place. We know that there are limited restroom passes, and so while the school class period takes place, we have a pretty good grip on what students are using the restrooms, so that will likely increase the chances of us being able to quickly respond as compared to when we have people always stationed outside those restrooms during hallway passing time. In addition to the male and female hall monitors, we will have our safety coordinators at each building, a part of the response teams. We'll have 1 male and 1 female administrator, and as always, we have our school resource officer on standby if necessary. We will also have an additional administrator on backup and prepared to also pull up our cameras, and our administrators do use those quite regularly when they need to, when it's necessary, and they are very, very strong and skilled at popping up exactly what camera, what place and time to be able to go back. We do need an additional staff member as backup, a male and a female, and so that could include some of our counselors if necessary, if folks are tied up. So that communication response, if the detector does go off, is pretty important for us to practice and be aware of so that we can respond quickly. We know there are occurrences in which we may not be able to get to the student before they've gone down that second or third hallway, or perhaps if they've gone into a classroom. And so our goal there is to be quick and responsive, but also to protect the dignity of our students. So we aren't going to come kicking in the classroom door, grabbing a student and pulling them out. We will be respectful, as we always do, if we do need to check a student. And in many cases, if there are a handful of students in the restroom, you might be surprised at how often those students are like, hey, look, I know who did it. And we would want that cooperation and partnership from our students. We do have wands that can detect any metal on students, and we do not use those unless we have very strong, reasonable suspicion to do so. And those are a way for us to, again, protect the dignity of a student, not near other folks, where we are not going to pat students down. That is not our job, but we could do so pretty quickly with a wand, thank the student for their cooperation, and quickly slide them back into a classroom if they did make it that far to get into that space. Right now, we know that when students do come out of the bathrooms, they are, in many cases, very cooperative to pull an adult aside and say, hey, look, I smelled something in there, or I seen so-and-so in there again. And so we're going to have to rely on all of those tools that we've used before for students to report it out for some cooperation together. So prior to the school year, we would really calibrate our response to that detector going off. So this may not be an extensive multi-day safety drill practice like we certainly are going to do each and every year, but it does take time for us to go through what that response is and how we're going to get to it, who's on the cameras, who's the male, who's the female, et cetera. We will continue to receive support from our police liaisons who have been fantastic. It's not often needed. Our students are very cooperative, also very respectful back to us, and those interactions in almost all cases go well. Occasionally, they may not, and so we have the ability to have an SRO on hand, which is helpful if needed. As I mentioned, the timeliness and the grace and care we have are critical in that response. The communication would take place to families prior to the start of the school year. We want them to be very much aware that these exist. We want them to understand the purpose and the goal behind what it is we're trying to do, which, as I mentioned, is to restore the environment of our restrooms for the health and safety of our students. We will remind parents of what our expectations are with students, our code of conduct, the things that we normally do, but in this case, we will point it towards this initiative in our restrooms. Do you have any comments or questions? And I know I have Mr. Harwood and Ms. Woods-Helms here as well. If they're in there, welcome to come up if you'd like, in case you've got some questions that they might also be able to help answer.
Member Sonnekrant?
I do have a question. Are these out in the open like a smoke alarm, or are they hidden so that they're not going to get damaged or people aren't going to?
You will be able to see them. I can't say you'll be able to reach all of them based on their location. It will alert if there's any damage done to the device.
And to piggyback on Member Sonnekrant's question, is there a way to protect the devices that might be reachable? Is there a cage system we could put around it so the kids can't? Because obviously they're going to figure out where they're at, and they're going to want to pull them down, potentially, maybe, to destroy them so they don't go off. So is there a way that we can protect them so that they can't get pulled down or damaged?
I won't speak on behalf of Sid Tippett, but I would imagine that we might be able to find a way to protect those and keep them intact. And I'd be happy to follow up with you if needed.
Okay, I didn't know if Sid wanted to come down. But no, just if we could somehow, trying to alleviate, because we know that they'll get damaged. So I just didn't know if there was a way we could protect that. Member Stitch?
Yeah, thank you. So I would love to hear from both of you, because I teach college, and I asked my college students, and I said, hey, did you have vape detectors at your schools? And I got a pretty hearty laugh out of those students. And they said, so this was after our last meeting, they said, one of my students said, do you know how many of those I pulled down? And another student said, if you're worried about vapes in the toilets now, just wait. So with that experience in mind, I have to admit, I'm a little bit skeptical, but this is why I'm glad the pros are here.
I would tell you, there's probably no bigger skeptic 5 years ago than me. I would have thought they were a waste of time. But to go back to an hour ago, and if you look at the students we had for our Turkey trip and for our outstanding student from Mott, all 4 of our students on the Turkey trip were our Select 50 members. The teachers are superstars. Mrs. Gross-Nickel was our Teacher of the Year. She's a Mott graduate, and they represent the very best of what this district can become. And what we've found in the last 5 years, just at Kettering alone, unfortunately, we've had more than 15 students leave the school in an ambulance over the last 5 years from an adverse effect from vaping, either falling, hitting their head on a urinal, somewhat not having a good reaction to whatever the chemical is in the vape. So from a health standpoint, that alone is a concern in the bathroom. From an academic concern, what we've seen is that it disproportionately targets our freshman students. If you look at the products that are easily available, either online or at some of the stores, unfortunately. I know we've had good partnerships with Waterford Police and doing some stings. The flavors are predatory. It's strawberry banana. It's blueberry mint. It's things that are not geared for adults. And we see the academic carnage that happens to our freshman class. And so when I see the juxtaposition of what our seniors can become as opposed to what is taken away from our freshmen, along with the weekly phone calls we will get from parents saying, my son or my daughter is not comfortable to use the bathroom. They will hold it until they get home because they know that something's going to happen in the bathroom. That alone was a sea change for me. We have this week alone pulled 9 vapes out of bathrooms that have impacted students adversely. And those are the ones that we caught. And those are the ones that were out in the open. And those were ones that students have reported on each other. We do have good camera coverage, obviously not in bathrooms, but they are tied to a timer with a time code that should there be any damage to anything in the bathroom, we would have a reasonable idea of a time frame to be able to dig in to investigate. I think Assistant Superintendent Wolf's comment on communication is so crucial because this is just one leg of the stool. When we work with a student who's caught vaping the first time, it's not a throw the book at them. It's not a immediate suspension. It's an opportunity for outreach with the parents. It's an opportunity for partnership with the Community Coalition, with Waterford Youth Assistance. It's an opportunity for support for treatment and to get them back into class and to reduce that damage to their academics. So we're open. I'm open for anything because right now it takes kids out of learning. And this is not the 30 years ago when I was in high school smoking cigarettes and kind of stepping away. These devices are so predatory and so addictive that the damage done to learning takes students out of their ability to engage 30 minutes, 20 minutes after vaping, and our classes are 50 minutes long. And so that takes someone out of wanting to learn and going into a bathroom and being in a social situation. And we know it's not perfect. We're not going to solve it. But I don't think we really have a choice. We have to do everything we can to protect the safety of the students. And that's just the vaping piece. The noise alone, the potential for injury, for damage, that we can make a bathroom safer to allow that family to have more confidence that their student can use the bathroom in peace and be able to go into a safe environment. That is an immeasurable boost that I would very much look forward to.
I don't really have much to say after that. I agree with being wholeheartedly. I think that our kids who this is not what they're into, it's a stressor to them because then they go in and they figure if somebody finds out, they're going to be pointing fingers at who they are, that kind of thing. I think that obviously nothing is 100% foolproof, but I think it will be a deterrent that they know that it is there. I think what he said is true. A lot of our kids are addicted, unfortunately. They use this as an unhealthy coping mechanism. But if we could identify these students, we can get more in front of the coalition. I think we've done a great job thus far of like troubleshooting this. But I think if we execute the plan that Assistant Superintendent Wolf has outlined with people in place and a true commitment to that, we can be better about it. And I think that over time, the students will get acclimated to that process, and it'll just be a hassle that they won't want to necessarily put up with, which is a good thing for us. And like I think he said, students are stepping up, and they are tired, and they also are stepping up because they are concerned about what's going on. And I think that's a great testimony to the communities that we've built, that they now feel the onus to say, like, we no more because we want our peers to be safe, and no more because we are tired of what this looks like. And I think it's a step in the right direction.
Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. Member Donahue?
For the response teams, I guess what my question is that it talks about that the software will send a text message to a phone. Did I understand that correctly?
Correct.
Whose phone?
Who we determine's phone, which will be part of the response team.
Whose phone? Mike, and the point I'm trying to make here is because these two people right here and their assistant principals are unbelievably busy on a daily basis. And my concern is that if it's going to them, they have enough on their plate. And I know you may even say, Pat, it's okay. I don't mind it. You're going to mind it. You're going to mind it after a while when you get these text messages or these loud noise messages coming to your phone all the time in regards to it. And so whether it be hall monitors, I just think that needs to be very clearly defined, and to make sure that it's not just administrators that are getting these text messages if it's going to be done right. Because they're in meetings, they're off campus, they've got enough stuff going on that we need to make sure that it's the wealth is evenly spread to whoever these team members are. The other thing is that obviously I assume that these teams are going to be people that are, whether they're hall monitors or they're volunteers to be a part of it. Are these their personal cell phones that these text messages are coming to? Are their phones supplied as a part of this just for this purpose, or a pager? Something along those lines, that when they're not in the building for whatever the reason is, they're not getting these text messages. You know, if something happens at an evening event and a hall monitor is one of the people that is getting text messages, is that all of a sudden they're not at home eating dinner with their family and they're getting text message that in bathroom 6, there's a vape detected. So those are the things that I just want, I want to make sure that you guys are very thoughtful of to make sure that this is done correct, but it's also not just put on administrators for whatever the reasons are, that it's them that has to respond and then use the walkie-talkie to get the hall monitors or the response teams there. Yeah. So, food for thought.
We know you can relate.
Yes, I can. For sure. So, and one last question is with the bathrooms, do those also include the locker room bathrooms, or not at this time?
Yes, some of those are not open and accessible during the school day, though.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can provide a map of the locations if you'd like. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Member McGregor?
I just want to say I appreciate that there's a plan and that it's a consistent approach to addressing this throughout the high schools, because I think that's very important, that students are treated with that consistency, and that it helps to promote the kind of environment that we want for our students. And I think that helps promote positive behaviors, but also an appreciation, because sometimes students feel like, or people in general, right? When we feel like one person's getting treated one way and another person's getting treated another way, no one wants to feel like that. So I greatly appreciate that you guys are all sitting down and approaching this the same way. I also wanted to ask a little bit about this, and this might just be because I don't have kids at that age, right? Is this, you talked about like with the freshmen, that this is more of an issue. Is this something that also needs to be addressed in the middle school? Or is this something that is targeted more towards the high schoolers?
Yes, responding to that question, we are not seeing as many occurrences, nowhere near what we are at the high school, but it's not to say that it's not happening to a lesser extent at the middle school. For us, this approach would be targeting the area that we know it's happening at a much higher rate to get the effectiveness down before we would ever consider the middle schools.
Okay, thank you.
No, as we were talking here, a question came up. Did you said not, a question came up for me, I should say. You said it's not going to be in the locker rooms because they're not open during the day, or they are going to be in the locker rooms?
They are not going to be in the locker rooms. The locker rooms are not always accessible, minus the gym locker rooms, that section that students can use and access during PE.
Okay.
And we've got those PE teachers in and out of those spaces and areas. Not to say it couldn't happen in there.
Well, and that's, I guess, my question. Why would we not put them in the locker rooms? Because we know the students are, so they're going to know, like if it's, from the perspective of having, having had teenagers, and mine are the ones that didn't use the bathroom because they didn't like what was going on, then they will know, like if there's events or some of our athletes that might be vaping, so they know that it's going to be a place where they can get away with it. What are we looking at potentially? Would we ever put them in the locker rooms as well? Is it more because at that point we have other students from other schools? Like, I just don't know if that's logistically, and what do we do if it's someone in our school that's not, like, will these detectors go off when we have events and we have people in the schools and there happens to be maybe an adult that might do it or someone from a neighboring district here? Like, how will we manage that? Is there a timing, like, are the vape detectors only set to go off certain times?
Not to my knowledge. No, I don't believe
Okay.
it can be programmed to say only trigger from 6 a.m. till 5 p.m.
Okay.
The number of spaces outside of the restrooms, even some of the staff bathrooms or other spaces would take the 27 number of vapes to a couple dozen more.
Okay.
So for us, it was just selecting the key areas that during the school day we know are most used and the highest volume, just to be cost effective and to first see how effective this works.
Okay, I guess that would be my concern if it goes off at 7 o'clock at night because we happen to have an event, then what do we do? And is it loud in the bathroom, or is it just going off on your phones? So it's not going to alert the people in the bathroom that it's been detected?
No.
But it will alert whoever has the phone?
Correct.
Okay. So I guess that as we were talking, that kind of came up, like what happens if we have events? Because I'm thinking of the H, because we know that people use those bathrooms, not just our kids. It's the main ones they use during the day, but it's also the bathrooms that are open when we have events at the PAC, when we have, community events, and I wasn't sure how that would work if it goes off, because I'm sure other people might set them off. I think it's great. I'm in support of this. I think it's something that we need to definitely address. It's frustrating that it's gotten to this point, and that's not on us. It's because of the way that they aggressively went after our students. It's sad that industry went after children to support their product, to make money. And so I know we're in a position where we have to address it. It isn't like Ben said, when we were growing up and you could smell the cigarette smoke, so you kind of knew what was happening. But I just didn't know logistically for things outside the school day, how are we going to navigate that? So that's probably not a question for you to answer on the spot. It's just something as we were talking, and Member Donahue brought up a few things that made me start thinking, okay, what does that mean for after-school events? I don't want their phones going off at 8 o'clock at night, which I know they go off anyways.
Well, for me, it's data.
Right.
Because if we have partners in the community that they're using something they shouldn't, I think that's data for us to have. I would much rather know about it than have it be a surprise, because more often than not, if it's a community partner, there's going to be a tie to the school. There's going to be a student, there's going to be a sibling, there's going to be a cousin. And data for me is valuable. And any data we can get that can help pinpoint the success of the programs we use, because we're looking at certainly as a deterrent and as an advertisement that we're aware. But for us to be able to progress monitor the efficacy of our support programs, that's data I want to use. I want to see if our numbers change in September and October down to December. I want to see if they change from coming back from the holiday break to the end of the year. I want to know if there's a difference between first hour and fifth hour, or do we have a propensity in seventh hour? All these pieces of data are going to be effective things for us to make our school better. And, you know, is it a Monday thing? Is it a Wednesday thing? Is there a specificity before finals? Are we tying it to student anxiety? Are we seeing it specific hours? All these things are pieces that we can use to help tool what our supports are going to be.
Well, and I do know, too, we all received an email today, I believe it came. Our township is trying to also work on making more stringent ordinances. There is a meeting coming up on Monday to go over it. They are trying to put more things in place where vape shops can't be close to schools. I believe it's a 500-foot radius. I know that they are trying, so I know that this is a partnership that's not just on you, but I know our township is definitely trying to also minimize how many of those businesses can be in our community. So it seems like it's an all-in effort to try and help these kids. So I know it will be a lot on you, and I appreciate that you are willing to take this on. I appreciate the work that you've put into it. It's just unfortunate because teaching and learning, right? That's what we're here for. But the health and safety of our students has to be priority at all times. So I do appreciate all of the efforts you're putting into this.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we are now going to move on to new business with Secretary Ristich.
Superintendent's recommendation 352526, Strategic Plan 2026. It is recommended that the Board of Education adopt the 2026 Strategic Plan and authorize changes to respective board policies. I so move.
Support.
All right, the motion has been moved and supported. Are there any questions or comments? Again, we want to thank everyone that was part of it. I know we've thanked them every opportunity we have had a chance. It's been a process, and we are grateful to our community and to our stakeholders, to our staff, to our students, to everyone who is involved. So we just want to shout out another big thank you to everybody. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. I can't see everyone's hand. All right, motion carries 6-0. When you're short, it's hard to see everyone's hand from the center. All right, we are going to keep moving on to Treasurer Donahue.
All right, forgive me, I have a paragraph that I've got to read here, so just, all right. Superintendent's recommendations 36-25-26, resolution for adoption by the Board of Education of Waterford School District, revised budget amendment 2 for 25-26. Resolved that this resolution shall be the general appropriations, Waterford School District for fiscal year 2025-2026. A resolution to make appropriations and to provide for the expenditure of the appropriations and to provide for the disposition of all income received by Waterford School District. The property tax rate will be 17.6749 mils on non-homestead property. The proceeds will be used to pay general fund operating expenses. Be it further resolved that $123,537,440 is hereby appropriated in the general fund. Be it further resolved that $10,991,609 is hereby appropriated in the school service fund. Be it further resolved that $7,537,659 is hereby appropriated in the Special Education Center Program Fund. Be it further resolved that $23,916,944 is hereby appropriated in the Debt Service Fund. The appropriation details of this information item are available to the public upon request. I so move.
All right, the motion has been moved and supported. Are there any comments or questions? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries 6-0. I appreciate everyone lengthening their arms on that one. We are going to stay with Treasurer Donahue.
Superintendent's recommendation 37-25-26, bond refunding. It is recommended that the Board of Education adopt the resolution as presented to allow the district to move forward with the negotiated sale of the refunding bonds. I so move.
Support.
All right, the motion has been moved and supported. Are there any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries 6-0. We're going to pass it over to Secretary Ristich for our policy updates.
Superintendent recommendation 38-25-26, policy updates. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve Neola Policy Updates, Volume 38, Number 2, Volume 39, Number 1, Volume 38, Number 1, Edgar, and Volume 39, Number 2. These updates align our policies with statutory language and are recommended by Neola to remain in statutory compliance. I so move.
Support.
All right, the motion has been moved and supported. Are there any comments or questions? Member McGregor?
I just want to make sure, especially with the epinephrine policy in here, and talking with Adam, it sounds like that was updated right around the same time that the new law got updated. I want to make sure that we definitely come back and address that when we can, because that, I think, is really important for the safety of students, but also it could help us financially as well.
And I believe once all the law gets through, Neola will then update it and bring another recommendation back to us. So that's what should be August. We are anticipating that. Okay, so then in August we'll revisit and then we can update the policy again. So, all right, great. Are there any other questions? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries 6-0. We are moving it back over to Treasurer Donahue.
All right, Superintendent's recommendation 39-25-26, warehouse exterior bulk storage bid. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve a new warehouse exterior bulk storage building to the lowest bidder to specification, DSP Constructors, in the amount of $240,428, along with a 10% contingency of $24,042, for a total project cost of $264,470. Funding source is the 2020 bond fund. I so move.
Support.
All right, the motion has been moved and supported. Are there any comments or questions? Member Petrucia?
Have we used this person before, these contractors?
I'm not familiar, Carla.
Yes, we have. They worked at in the parking lot last summer.
And we were happy with what they had done?
All right, are there any other comments or questions? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries 6-0. And we are going to stay with Treasurer Donahue for almost the entire page.
Superintendent's recommendation 40-25-26, food service equipment. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the bid award, the amount of $199,308.15 to Stafford Smith for the purchase of the food service equipment presented to be funded through the Food Service Fund. I so move.
Support.
All right, the motion has been moved and supported. Are there any comments or questions? Are we good? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Keep going.
I'm earning my $30.
You are.
Superintendent's recommendation 41-25-26, Children's Village Interactive Display Project. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the award of contract to Bloom in the amount of $78,949.35 for the interactive display project at Children's Village School. Funding is Section 24 Grant and General Fund. I so move.
Support.
All right, the motion has been moved and supported. Are there any comments or questions? All right, great. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries 6-0.
Superintendent's recommendation 42-25-26, Chromebook purchase to begin refresh cycle. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the award of contract to People Driven Technologies in the amount of $815,364 for 2,000 Dell Chromebooks, each with a 3-year warranty, accidental damage protection, and gumdrop Chromebook cases. Funding is the 2020 bond. I so move.
Support.
All right, the motion has been moved and supported. Are there any comments or questions? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries 6-0. It's your last one.
All right. Superintendent's recommendation 43-25-26, Life Tracks Durant parking lot site improvements. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the Life Tracks Durant parking lot site improvements to the lowest bidder to specification, Best Asphalt Incorporated, in the amount of $142,758, along with a 10% contingency of $14,275 for a total project cost of $157,033. The funding source is the 2020 bond fund. I so move.
Support.
All right, the motion has been moved and supported. We're all getting a little silly up here. The motion has been moved and supported. Are there any comments or questions? Member Patricia?
We've used this contractor before.
Not in Waterford, but they've worked in Bloomfield, Birmingham, Utica, Bradford. They've worked at several departmental projects.
And we're taking out the cement and putting in asphalt
Yes.
before the study, the building study thing, but I guess it's only okay, thank you.
All right, are there any other comments or questions? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Is it all the way up?
I'm not sure about it, but yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Motion carries 6-0. All right, we are now moving on to public comment. I don't have any green cards up here. Is there anyone out there that would like to make public comment? All right, we are now going to move on to our Board of Education reports. I know Member Sonic-Krant has a report. Do you want to start us off?
Sure.
All right.
We had our YA meeting, Youth Assistance meeting last night. Tomorrow's the deadline to nominate kiddos for the awards. The award ceremony will be in April, so please get names in. And they can be for anything, from opening doors for somebody to shoveling somebody's driveway. I mean, there's a lot of good going on in Waterford, and we need to support our kids. There's also a Betty Fortino scholarship. Normally the scholarship's $1,000, but this year Youth Assistance is matching it, so it's a $2,000 scholarship. I think we have one application right now, so get them in. That would be great for somebody going to school. There's a digital playbook, family playbook class, free class offered, and it has childcare and dinner, Thursday, April 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. So that's a great free class that you can take. And they're doing great things at Youth Assistance, so just wanted to share.
All right, great. Are there any other board reports? Member Ristich?
Okay, I got a couple things here from Hess Hathaway, the amazing Hess Hathaway Farm. We've got, where to start here? Bunny Bingo coming up on Saturday, March 28th, 10 a.m. to 11:30. Don't miss it. It's going to be an excellent time. The Easter Bunny's going to be there to play bingo with you and your little ones. $5 per resident. Space is limited. Nerf Battle, Tuesday, March 31st. They have two groups, 5 through 8 and 9 through 12. That's during spring break, I believe. Yeah, nice. Check that out, $10 per person. You can find all this information on the Waterford Parks and Rec website. Got a couple other things. Registration begins for a series of camps through the Parks and Rec. We've got the Farm Camp, which they've got two offerings for 3.5 to 5-year-olds. So you can get the little ones, and then the 6 to 10-year-olds. So registration begins April 1st. They also have our Drayton Plains Nature Camp, which is a great experience. So you can find that information on the Parks and Rec website. Registration begins April 1st. And they also have a whole bunch of other offerings at the farm. We've got a couple events where you can hang out with the equine. You can groom, you can walk with them. So again, lots of really great stuff happening over at the farm. So check out the website. Also wanted to shout out Mary Crate, who, the legendary Mary Crate, who just got an award from Oakland County for all of these years as an amazing teacher here.
One of the 6 Oakland County Women in History Awards, so thank you, Mike.
Excellent. Amazing. That's all I got.
Member McGregor? I didn't know if you smiled, so I thought you had a report.
Okay. Well, I'll just say congratulations to all the Select 50 students last night. It was very well put together, and thank you to the Waterford Foundation. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder too much, Adam.
I'm totally good with it. You guys steal it. Yep.
But they always do an amazing job every year recognizing our students, and it's important to reinforce that, right? Because these students are doing good things. So thank you, and congratulations, everyone.
Oh, Member Bertusha?
Mr. McGregor, weren't you also a Select 50? Okay, so congratulations to you from way back. So.
A little late.
Well, no, but it's one of them things, well, we thanked you back then, but, you know, as a honoree, looks like, you know, the alumni. So, good job.
All right, so we have this Saturday at the Coffee Bucket, which is one of our local, they're also a nonprofit with Draw, but they're a local business here in Waterford. They are located off of Airport Road. They are from 8 to 1 p.m. They are actually holding a book drive to benefit Sweet Reads. So it's a great place to hang out, have a cup of coffee, really fun people. It's also a great way to support our district. New and gently used books is what we would appreciate. All different, any books that you have from board books all the way up to high school, because our Sweet Reads Mobile typically does a stop for the elementaries, but elementary kids do have siblings that are older, so it's always nice to have books for our teenagers as well. So we appreciate the Coffee Bucket for reaching out. They are working with the Friends of the Library as well, and they wanted to benefit our school district. They partnered with us a few years ago when we were doing our classroom library initiative, so this was another great way for us to support literacy in our district, support one of our local businesses. And if you're out and about on Saturday from 8 to 1, stop in. I hear they might have some giveaways too, so you might potentially win something if you stop in. I'd also like to give a shout out not only to our Waterford Mott varsity dance team, but also to our Waterford United Middle School dance team. They competed in February at Spirit Shine for their state championship. Our high schoolers walked away with 3rd place overall in varsity hip hop. We had 4 soloists that all placed. Ava Wagner, my daughter, was a 1st place soloist. We also had Chandler Davidson and Ashley Zarati. Chandler got 2nd, Ashley got 3rd, and then our senior, Maddie Walker, who was also a Select 50 and an awesome kid, she received a 1st place soloist in her division as well. So it was really, really fun to see them. Our middle schoolers did great. They walked away with a ton of hardware. I tried to reach out to find out exactly what it was, and no one responded, or we're in here and it's not coming through. So I know that they walked away with 3 big trophies. So it was really, really cool. It was a great way to support our kids. They did great. They represented Waterford well. Also, a nice shout out to Kettering's Winter Guard. They took 3rd place in their most recent competition. So it's really nice to see all these different organizations and our students doing so well throughout all the events that they're participating in. And a huge shout out to our spring sports that are getting ready to start soon. Although when I saw the Waterford United lacrosse team doing Snow Angels on their social media pages, it really didn't feel like it was our spring sports yet, but I know that those are all getting ready to go, so shout out to our spring sports. Good luck to everyone. Everyone's in the OAA, so it'll be interesting this year with the new teams that we'll be competing against, but I know that they'll do well and they'll serve us well. That's it. And we're on to you.
On to me?
Yes.
Sure.
Are we good? All right. Yes.
I know it may seem early, but we are enrolling for the 26-27 school year. Want to remind everybody we have late enrollment hours this Monday, March 23rd at Central Enrollment. We'll be open until 7 p.m. So if you're considering coming our way, please do. We'd love to have you. Also, March is reading month. I've been able to get over and read at Grayson, Cooley, Stepanski. I'll be with Riverside Racers. So I know there's been other people and have seen different celebrities that have been out and about reading in classrooms. What a great time to be with the kids and read with them. They have called me, the kindergartners, the big boss or the tall boss. Explaining it as I'm the boss is seemed to work with them. Also, I would like to recognize and congratulate the 2026 Waterford Foundation Pre-K through 5 Teacher of the Year nominees. Amy DiPolo from Donaldson Hills, Lori Runk from Grayson Elementary, Alyssa Korzum from Haviland Elementary, Kristen Shelburne from Haviland Elementary, Angela Reddick from Knutson, Erica Jacob from Schoolcraft, and Sharon Kukaska from Schoolcraft. So we're looking forward to that selection that's going to be made in April and then celebrating with the banquet in May. Also, I just want to again congratulate the students at the Select 50. Thank you, Trustee McGregor, Trustee Torres were there, and the foundation for their support. An incredible group that is super supportive of Waterford schools. Shout out to Sarah Davis and Jessica Ristich, who presented this year at the MSPRA Annual Conference. Their presentation entitled Trust Over Tradition, Reimagining Community Engagement really explored our incredible Waterford Together Festival. Way to go, guys. And we're looking forward to see them run it back next year. Also a reminder, we're on spring break from March 30th through April 6th. That means there will be no committee of the whole meeting on April 2nd, and the next time we'll all be together, we'll be here on April 16th. And lastly, on a sad note, Norm Bolt, who was the lead nighttime custodian and a 38-year Waterford School District employee, passed away suddenly earlier this week. Norm was a Mott graduate and will be greatly missed by the Mason family. Principal Henning shared some thoughts on him and just an incredible human that positively impacted everybody he touched. Our condolences will go out to Norm's family, the Mason community, and our custodial staff. Thank you.
All right, well, seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Have a great spring break, everyone. Thank you.